Remember, when you live better, you live well. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Living Well with Kate. Today, I am going to go through the process of pickling. So we're gonna start with cucumbers and make them into pickles. This is the process of fermentation. So it's converting carbohydrates from sugars. Super great for your immune system, super great for probiotics, nutritional absorption, and it's the season for pickling. Let's get started. So the way that we're gonna start pickling cucumbers is you make the brine first. So the brine is gonna be made with vinegar, water, and salt. And the way that you do it is you bring it to a boil and let it dissolve. And since it needs to cool before putting it in the jar, let's go ahead and do that first. So first we're gonna add the water. We have 1 cup of water and then 1 cup of white distilled vinegar. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So, and we're using a 4-cup mason jar, so it should fit perfectly with the cucumbers. We have the vinegar, and then about 1 tablespoon of salt, and you're gonna wanna use coarse kosher sea salt. And just give it a little stir to blend it together. We're gonna turn the heat on. So we're gonna let this heat up and bring it to a boil. Once it's to a boil, we'll let it cool before putting it into the jar. So we see the brine has come to a boil. The salt is completely dissolved. So what we're gonna do is just turn off the heat and let this sit to cool before we put it into the jar. So now that our brine is mixed and cooling, I am gonna first wash the cucumbers. So we're gonna have a spicy and a dill and garlic one. And initially I was gonna do it in spears, but I think we're gonna do them in like little slices, because then that way you can dice it up and put it on salads, put it in a burger. And you're gonna wanna make sure your cucumbers are very clean, and same with the jars. Before I sterilize the jars, because this is a chemical process, I've actually never seen what can happen, but something bad can happen if there is bacteria in there. So make sure everything is super clean. So once we have our pickles, or our cucumbers, nice and clean, we'll go ahead and slice those up. And usually, I'm one for taking the ends off. You can keep it in. And actually, if these were smaller, you could do little ones. I think that's kind of how gherkin pickles are made. I'm not sure, TBD. I'll let you know next episode. And these I'm gonna probably do, let's see, like a little bit thicker slices for the dill and garlic ones. No reason, it's just a feeling. But you're gonna wanna make sure they're all kind of the same size, is generally the scope. So these are some cucumbers that I got at the farmer's market, so they're nice and big, healthy. So here is gonna be our dill and garlic. Get these all fit into here, and this one will be my spicy jar. I made them in different jars, so it's easy for me to remember. Not that I couldn't tell from the outside. Once those are all in, I'm not even going to dice up the garlic. You can kind of leave it in like a whole clove. But for this one, I'll do 3 cloves of garlic. And so even though it is like a science, you can kind of play around and make up your own flavors a little bit. I think that could be really interesting. Some other flavors that would probably be cooler, maybe like one with like a chili spice, or something I've actually thought about too is if you can pickle tomatoes. Maybe we'll have like an experimental one. And make sure you always want all the skin off, because otherwise it'll get absorbed in the brine and kind of give it a funky little flavor. And so in order to release the most amount of flavor, I usually like to press them. And you hear that nice little pop. And this is something great to do too, especially with the holidays coming up. It's easy to make in big batches, and it's probably a really cute gift. I know I would love if I got some pickled cucumbers or some fermented vegetables. I think it's a great way. Obviously, cooking is a great way to show love. Our dill is washed, and I'm just gonna kind of slice it up a little bit, making sure to not really get any of the stems in. And then once I pour the brine in, it'll kind of blend it around a little bit. So that I would say is about 1/4 of a cup. So our dill and garlic one is ready. And then for our spicy one, I'll probably do 1/4 of a cup as well, so just making sure. Woo! That's a little bit more, but right, we love spice. So those are ready to go, so we're just gonna check on the brine and make sure it's cool enough to put in. Okay, so now that our brine is cooled, we are good to pour it into the jars. So let's see how my aim is. So I'm gonna do about half the 2 cups in there. Whoop. And let's do there. And then once we seal it off, we'll give it a shake so everything should move around and get blended. And you're gonna wanna make sure they're sealed, obviously very tight, airtight sealed. Wipe off the top. And give it a blend. So this one I'll probably add a little bit more vinegar and water, but this one will be good to go for our spicy pickled cucumbers. And they'll just need 24 hours to cool in the fridge, and then they'll be ready to eat. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Living Well with Kate. I hope you enjoyed watching me pickle some cucumbers today. I'll keep you posted how the flavors go. And always remember, when you live better, you live well. See you next time.